I am about to show you the deadliest sport in history. Imagine winning the championship. You're the hero, everyone's cheering, and your prize is you get sacrificed. This is not a joke. We are talking about an ancient game where winning could literally get you killed. It was called ōllamaliztli, and it is insane. But before we get to the human sacrifice, you need to know this game is ancient, like older than almost any other sport in the world. We're going back over 3,500 years. It all started with a civilization called the Olmecs. The Aztecs even called them the rubber people because they were the first to make these crazy rubber balls. We found balls they made that date back to 1600 BCE. From there, the game blew up. I'm talking 1,300 ball courts all over ancient America, from Nicaragua all the way to Arizona. The first courts were just flat dirt rectangles, but they eventually built these massive eye-shaped stone arenas right in the middle of their biggest cities. The Mayans had their own version called pits, but it was the Aztecs who called it ōllamaliztli, who took it to a completely different level. For them, it was a cosmic showdown with the craziest stakes you can imagine. So what were the rules for this insane game? It's tricky because they changed a little bit everywhere, but here's the basic rundown. You have a long court with 2 giant walls, 2 small teams, maybe 2 to 4 players each. The goal? Do not let the ball touch the ground. But here's the twist. You cannot use your hands or feet. You could only hit the ball with your hips, your thighs, and sometimes your forearms or head. It's basically impossible. And the ball they used was brutal. It was solid rubber and could weigh up to 9 pounds. That is 6 times heavier than a modern soccer ball. This thing was heavy, it bounced everywhere, and it was incredibly dangerous. Getting hit with this ball could literally kill you from internal bleeding. Players wore some heavy leather pads, but they would finish games completely covered in bruises. Some injuries were so bad they had to be cut open just to relieve the swelling. Most of the game was just trying to score points by making the other team mess up. But then they added the ultimate challenge, stone hoops high up on the walls, and they were vertical. Getting a 9-pound ball through one of those tiny hoops using only your hip was a 1 in a million shot. It was so rare that if a player actually made it, the game was over instantly. They were a legend forever. But this was never just a game. For the Aztecs, this was a massive religious ceremony. They believed the court was a portal connecting the earth to the supernatural world. The entire game was a reenactment of their biggest myths. The court was the cosmos, and the ball was the sun, moon, or stars. Its journey across the court was supposed to mirror their journey through the sky and into the underworld. I'm not kidding, they thought playing this game would keep the universe in balance and make sure the sun would rise the next day. There's an insane Mayan story called the Popol Vuh, where 2 hero twins have to go to the underworld to play a ball game against the gods of death. After tons of crazy challenges, the twins win, they avenge their father, and then they ascend to the sky and become the sun and the moon. This story proves the game was always seen as an epic battle between life and death. And it wasn't just religion, it was politics. Instead of going to war, rival cities would sometimes settle their problems by playing a ball game. It was literally a substitute for war. A win meant your city was better and had the gods on your side. The Aztec Emperor Moctezuma even played against another king to settle a prophecy about his empire falling. He lost, and then the Spanish conquistadors showed up. Crazy. Okay, now we get to the craziest part, the human sacrifice. We know it happened. We have found carvings of players being decapitated right next to the courts. They even built giant racks of skulls called ōllamaliztli to display the heads of the victims. But here is the biggest mystery, and I want you to think about this. Did they sacrifice the losers or the winners? The argument for sacrificing the losers makes the most sense to us. You lose the divine game, you've disappointed the gods, so you get sacrificed. Some reports say they even made prisoners of war play games they were guaranteed to lose just so they could be sacrificed. But there's another theory that is way more insane. They sacrificed the winners. In the Aztec world, being sacrificed to the gods was the single greatest honor you could ever achieve. It wasn't a punishment at all. So think about it. Why would you give the gods the second best team? No, you give them the best. You give them the champions. The winners proved they were the strongest, most skilled players, and the perfect offering. Winning the game literally meant you were worthy enough to be sacrificed. It's one of the biggest debates in all of history. So what happened to this insane sport? When the Spanish conquistadors showed up in the 1500s, they were completely blown away. They'd never even seen rubber before, and even sent an Aztec team to Spain to show the emperor how they played. But their curiosity was replaced by horror. Because of the human sacrifice and all the pagan rituals, the Spanish authorities banned the game completely. The giant courts in the Aztec capital went silent, and for almost 500 years, the game that defined ancient civilizations was almost lost forever. But it didn't completely die. In a few tiny remote communities in Mexico, a version of the game called ōllamaliztli survived. It's been passed down from generation to generation, and they still play today, hitting the heavy ball with their hips just like their ancestors. And now there are huge efforts to bring the game back, building new courts and celebrating it as a piece of history. They even built a new court in Mexico City, right near where the original Aztec emperors played. So this was so much more than just a sport. It was a religious battle, a way to prevent wars, and a spectacle of life and death, where the line between ultimate glory and ultimate sacrifice was insane. The biggest question is about that sacrifice, and it makes you look at a completely different way of life. So I have to ask you guys, what do you believe? Were the losers sacrificed as a punishment? Or were the winners sacrificed as the ultimate honor? Let me know in the comments right now. And if you think this is one of the craziest sports in history, smash that like button and subscribe right now for more insane history videos.